Hello, welcome to Tea and Talk Time. It's been a while. I've been kind of otherwise occupied, either trying to find some energy or get some energy or lose some energy. It's always energy related with me, chronic fatigue and all that. Can you tell I live on a busy road? Let me double check my settings here. Okay. Because you never can tell. I am streaming on recording on StreamYard, and it's the first time I've done this with Tea and Talk Time. So I'm really rough with it. Don't know how that is doing, so I'm going to take it off just in case it's not doing what I want it to. How you been? I've been a little frazzled. I decided to do something about 3 weeks ago. Well, I'm going into the third week of it. I got a hair up my, you know what, and I decided I was going to do a new channel called the Snarky Juror. Why the Snarky Juror, you might say? Well, it started with that one Apple Valley. I never did follow through on watching that whole thing. But I'm sitting there and I'm just making snarky remarks to the TV and just giving the defense attorney a hard time. And that's when it germinated in my mind. It's like, okay. I watch a lot of commentary, trial commentary shows. I'm not a lawyer. Can't do it. Don't have the brain capacity for it. Wouldn't be able to maintain a professional demeanor when idiots are being idiots on the stand. Couldn't be a judge. Don't have the brain for it. Don't have the patience for it. They're supposed to be the mediator. They're supposed to be making sure the defense is doing what the defense is supposed to do, and the prosecutor is doing what the prosecutor is supposed to do, so that the jury has a well-formed, balanced information to make their decision. That's what I assume the judge is for. Until you start watching some of these judges, you wonder. Now, the majority of the judges I've watched, like in the Depp v. Heard, excellent judge. Excellent judge. Judge A is what we ended up calling her. That's the community we. The judge in the Gwyneth Paltrow case, I think, was a good judge. I can't think of some of the other cases. But the majority of them were Murdoch. That was a good judge. And the saint of them all was the judge in the Brooks trial, not file. He's the one that plowed through all those Christmas parade people and then defended himself. Oh my God. Oh my God. The crap that he put her through, her being the judge. There's no way that I could have tolerated any of that. So anyway, I have a lot of opinions when I'm watching these things. I enjoy watching the ones that are presented by lawyers, because like Emily D. Baker, Runkle of the Bailey, Law and Lumber. Couldn't remember his title there for a minute. There's more, but offhand I can't think of them. Emily D. Baker is my go-to most of the time, because she's the one that got me watching primarily through her the Depp v. Heard trial. But I enjoy watching them because they say, well, that's not allowed. Well, that was a wrong call. And they tell you why. you know, for somebody who has no, excuse me, Dr. Pepper, for someone who has no background in the law. Well, why did they object to that? Well, why can't they say this? Well, why can't they do that? They will usually give you a reason why. Sometimes it's just an offhanded comment. Sometimes they go into depth. Well, you have to do this, 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 and this in order for this to get in. Oh, okay. Well, I still don't agree with it, but at least I know why it was done that way. So I think it was on one of these I posted that I'm going to start my own channel called the Snarky Juror because I can, because I can make all those remarks and stuff, because I'm not in front of the judge, because I'm not maintaining, you know, they have to maintain, what do you call it when you're neither this side or that side? Can't remember what it's called. I'm having a day. Welcome to fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue brain. They have to reserve an opinion until all of the evidence is in. Well, let me tell you what. The trial I'm following now, I am leaning so far to one side because it's so darn obvious to me. So that's where the Snarky Juror came from. I'm following the Massachusetts versus Karen Reed trial currently. We're in what day are we in? We are in day 14 and the 39th witness. In case you're not familiar with the trial, it's the girlfriend who is accused of running over her boyfriend in the middle of the night with a snowstorm on the horizon. And the evidence against her is so slim. It's very interesting. We're 3 weeks into it, and just now the prosecutor is starting to pull forth stuff. We have had to go through every single cop that was there on the scene, every single witness that was there, even if they weren't there. I mean, we have trudged through miles and miles and miles of, well, what did the house look like? Or describe the room, describe this, describe that. And it's like, I'm going, why do we need to know this information? It's like he's just using up time. He's stretching. He's trying to Botox his case, plump it up. Am I getting upset? I'm getting upset. It's very hard to trudge through this thing. A round of applause and cheering goes up when the defense finally has a chance to speak. I heard from somebody, well, not personally, but he actually got to be in the courtroom. And he says, if you're feeling it, pretty much the jury is feeling it as well. The jurors are feeling it as well. If you're rolling your eyes, guess what they're doing or trying not to do. So like I said, it's interesting. Since I'm always running off at the mouth, it was like, well, let's see if anybody else feels the same way. So that's what I'm doing. That's where I've been. I will try to do more visits. I'm using StreamYard. It seems to be a lot easier to handle so far than what I was using before. So I brought up a couple of my things. If you see little snarky tiger down in the corner, that's because I haven't figured some things out, and that's a hangover from when I'm recording for the Snarky Juror stuff. I tried to put my teacup in here. See? It's up there in the top corner. It's supposed to be invisible. You're not supposed to see all those little squares. We'll see what it looks like when I play this back. Bye-bye. Tea stack. That's what I should call it, tea stack. So there's that. I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. I did. Got to see, what did I do for Mother's Day? My oldest son dropped off a bouquet. My sister stopped by the day before, not a bouquet, but a hanging basket. My sister dropped by the day before with a hanging basket. I think that was about it. My sister, now this isn't one of the cards that she makes, but she didn't think her stuff was good enough. Isn't that pretty? But she could do this very easily. It would drive her crazy. There's a lot of things on here. And they got like little cork thingies to make them stand up. So I thought that was cute. And before that, she had sent me a card in the mail. I was so tired of the cold. But isn't this pretty? She made this one. And this one will get framed and hung up somewhere. Don't know where, but somewhere. Hope this card brings a little sunshine to your day. Love and hugs, Sandy. And John, too. Warm weather is coming, I hope. Isn't that pretty? That is just absolutely... Okay, goes like this. I just thought that was absolutely beautiful. And it is absolutely beautiful. And the ex, who very nicely asked me what I wanted for Mother's Day. I said gift card would be fine. He says to where? And I says, well, Petitti's, it's a garden place. And it's like I'm not busy enough as it is. Unable to keep up with stuff as it is. I'm now into gardening. So he did that. He got me a Petitti's gift card. So I'm chomping at the bit to take a run out there. Hopefully with Sandy, with my sister. And go out there and pick up a few things. I have an idea of a makeshift trellis type thing. I'm going to need, I'll measure them first. There's hanging trellis work on the side of my screened-in porch that needs to be, everything needs to be taken down, the screens down, reinforced with new lumber, and then new screening. And I don't want to put those, it's green, like fencing trellis work. They had some climbing roses that they used for that. And currently I have clematises that came from nowhere. Volunteered is what my mom used to call them when something would spring up in the garden and you hadn't seen it before, and it's usually from a bird dropping, literally, and with dropping some seeds that have passed through their system. And I think that's how it started. Now it's all over the place out there. I need to tame it a little bit. But it's beautiful and it has such a nice smell. Such a nice smell to it. So what I want to do is two of those trellis works came down because it was pulling out of the wood. I don't know how long they've been up there, but I've lived here about 15 years. And so they're getting very rickety. So my idea is to make a very simple three-sided, what would you call it? Brace. And up at the top, put a couple hooks to hook the fence-like trellis on it. Lean it up against the fence that my neighbors put up a long time ago that is their fence, but it's leaning like this onto my side. So I'm going to place it up against there and have the fence come down at an angle. Not the fence, the trellis come down at an angle and kind of anchor the bottom. So it's hooked up at top, anchored at the bottom, so it's completely removable. And getting honeysuckle and maybe jasmine and maybe one other thing, and have them along the fence coming down at an angle, and have them climbing up that trellis work. I think A, it would be pretty, B, it would smell wonderful. So that's one of my steps. And underneath, I've already started this, it's already in the works anyway, is to kind of even out the ground, lay out cardboard, stack cardboard along the ground, and then layer mulch on top of that. That's a weed inhibitor that way. And I can place the vines in a pot at the base of the trellises that will be leaning up against the fence, and underneath there won't be any weeds coming up through. That's what I see in my head. We'll see whether or not it works out that way. I've got a volunteer rose bush that I noticed last year at the end. I think there was I was moving stuff out of the rose bed that's in front of the screened-in porch. That most of the rose bushes there was from the previous owner, and this rose bush just wasn't cutting it. And I think I just threw it in a bunch of stuff and threw it back there as fill. That son of a gun started blooming. That was a surprise, looking back there, and there's this one little rose bush and all of this thistle. In amongst the thistles was this beautiful red rose bush. So I will be getting the weeds out from around it, and I will maybe put cardboard around it and mulch to inhibit that. I'm not sure because I don't know how much that will inhibit the water that the rose bush gets. So I'll have to keep a close eye on that. So gardening is my project to get me physical, moving around out in the yard. I cut down most of a tree. I think there's like about a 6-foot piece of it left, but it's already starting to sprout out again. It was growing up through the front bushes, and it was taller than the house. It was a good maybe 6 feet taller than the house. Yeah, I was about 12 feet high, I think, because I'm 5'4"ish. And I think what's left is about 6 foot. I climbed up on a ladder and took my reciprocating saw and cut a wedge. And then I cut it from the back. And off it went. It did smack me in the cheek on its way. That's my fault because I should have leaned back. But it was just a tap. And it just gently tapped the neighbor's car. So I actually did pretty good aiming it. So I threw all the pieces parts over the fence into my yard. And I'm still having to chop it into smaller pieces and put it in the back. I just haven't had the energy to get out there and do it. Because there's not a lot of energy to spare. So I went and saw not the doctor. I went and had an ultrasound done. I'll mess with that later. Just checking to see what the liver, pancreas, gallbladder, and spleen are doing. It's verified that they're there, and the one thing that was taken out hasn't grown again. So, sounds like good news to me. So what else have I been up to? I ordered a new Bible, and I absolutely love it. Don't know, I think I shared it with you already, but I love it. It says, God bless the USA on it. It's got the flag on it. In the back, it's got the Constitution, lyrics to God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood in it, the Declaration. Now I can't think of what it is. Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, we the people, in it. So it's a neat thing because it's God and country, which I don't know if I was military in a former life. I was sort of military in this life as married to a Marine. My dad was Army. I don't have memories of it, but there's plenty of pictures of me being a little Army brat. My oldest boy went into the Army. My middle boy went into the Navy. We couldn't get, well, I wouldn't have minded if Joe had gone in the Air Force, but his brothers and his father said absolutely not. So he's a man of God instead. He's got a family. I call him a man of God because he's very much that moral, upright person. He hates injustice. He hates a lot of the crap that's going on now because it's just not right, and I agree with him. But he has a very solid foundation. I've got a picture of the three of them. I've got the oldest one in his Army uniform, the middle one in his Navy uniform, and the youngest one in his church suit. And all three of them are warriors in my mind. So that's special. That's special to me. Let's see, what else is new? Not much else. I mean, it's been a month, 4 weeks, I think, is what I see since the last time I talked with you. And it's like, other than this Snarky Juror, it takes up a lot of my time because that's Monday through Friday, 4 to 8 hours a day. I fight sleep when I'm doing it, but I feel like even though nobody's other than me has watched it so far, I feel like I'm supposed to, and that's why I'm pushing myself to continue. The trial is supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks. So we have another 6 weeks at least to go. Well, around 6 weeks to go. If you want to see me get pissed, if you want to see me get perturbed, if you want to see me get snarkier than you've ever seen me, take a gander at it. I mean, I've got to find a way to watch these things and not I got so wound up one day, I was snapping at everybody. And it's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. That's not the way to do it. Well, you know what I mean. So I got to work on that. And maybe that's the only reason for it, was to help me be a little more objective and less subjective, be a little more able to voice my opinions without all the emotion behind it. We'll see. When I was looking around to start figuring out what's going to be what, I found a couple pictures that this is what snarky is to me. Now that's a snarky expression. What? What do you want with me? I saw that and I just laughed and laughed. So that's my little logo. And then I saw this. I put the lettering on there. But that's another funny thing to me. So in your YouTube channels, if you happen to see something like this, that's me. Actually, it won't be that. It won't be that either. Oh, I don't have it here. I'd have to. It will say MAV Karen Reed and that tiger look. It'll have that tiger image and MAV Karen Reed on it. So if you're interested, give it a look. Tea and Talk Time is the more pleasant version of myself, hopefully. I can get snarky, but usually it's quirky snarky, not snarky. So that's where I can let the snark out. And doing these long days, the snark gets worn out after a while. So that's another thing. I got to find a way to pace myself. So anywho, I thought I would pop in. Today is Monday, the 20th of May. They didn't have trial today. So they have it tomorrow. And I'll be back with my nose to the grindstone. That helps offset, how big your nose gets as you grow older. That's about all that I've got to share. So tell me what you think. See if this format works well for everybody. Hopefully. It works better for me so far. And I guess that takes away some of the stress of recording. So far, I like it. So we will leave it there, and I will let you go. And you take care. And until the next time we get together, take care and God bless.